My first 2 years at Heritage Academy, I learned something very important. I learned how to succeed. But my second 2 years, I learned something even more important. I learned how to fail. Yes, failure and disappointment. Now, you may be wondering how on earth could I ever be talking about this as a positive experience? And honestly, I myself wondered that many times during those last 2 years. I mean, there's something so completely vulnerable and terrible about sitting in front of Mr. Baker's physics test, knowing that you have no idea why the angle of the resultant vector is equal to the inverse tangent of the quotient of the y component divided by the x component of the resultant vector. Naturally, recalling almost 0% of the material learned over that period produces its expected effect: failure and disappointment. But now I'm making it sound like I got bad grades in high school, which really isn't true. I grew up in an amazing family where I was taught that in everything I do, striving for perfection is striving for godliness. If it's not perfect, it's not right. So do it again until it is perfect. Now, to clarify, this is a learned practice. I'm not naturally meticulous, neat, organized, or perseverant. But thanks to the word persistence of my parents and a lot of sincere prayers, I've learned to strive for perfection. This stubborn spirit I brought with me to Heritage Academy, and it has produced mostly good results. Good grades, good music, good disaster response, success. The good was nurtured, and I learned a lot. I guess for those first 2 years, I almost saw myself as invincible. But what happens when you suddenly stop being invincible or realize you never were in the first place? What happens when your greatest efforts don't make the bar you have set for yourself, when in your mind you have reached nothing but failure and disappointment? It was in those last 2 years that my feelings of inadequacy shoved in my face the knowledge that I need a savior. No, I don't just need one, I need one. Because on my own, I can never be perfect, holy, or righteous. It's not possible. And even if I somehow manage to keep up a good image and keep all the rules, if I don't keep them in my heart and allow even one particle of sin to germinate in the depths of my soul, I'm not good enough. Failure and disappointment. But luckily, this was not the end of my story. Realizing my spiritual weakness and acknowledging my newly discovered invincibility became a turning point in my high school experience. It was not the end of the world. All my little failures, if I could rise above them because they pointed me to Christ, I didn't have to consider as failures at all. They were simply, as Teddy Roosevelt said, opportunities to begin again, only this time more wisely. I saw that I could choose whether something would push me down or if I would rise above it. As time went on, I realized this lesson encompassed so much more than just failure. It included every other negative feeling or thought I had ever had here. See, during my 4 years, people would ask me, "Why did you go to Heritage Academy?" And I really don't blame them for asking. Why would I move from the sunny land of Florida? Why would I go to a dirt road, self-supporting school with some 50-odd kids and rules that from the outside seem a little strange? Why would I spend my time slaving away helping other people when I could be having fun? Good questions. But I had good answers. I knew God had opened doors and led me here. There were good programs like disaster response. It was a mission-oriented school, and the list goes on. But in my own mind, did these answers really justify my existence here? When my parents asked me if I wanted to leave, did I really love my school enough to stay all 4 years? Honestly, I wasn't 100% sure. I knew I wanted to stay and that it was a good experience, but I didn't really know why. But last year, I heard a response that answered all of those questions, a response that tied together the irreconcilability of my failures and what I felt like was a positive experience here. I quote, "I love Heritage because here I learned to deal with disappointment." It's true. Here at my school, we don't have everything we want. You drove up on a dirt road this morning to be here. Life isn't handed to you on a silver platter. You aren't entitled to anything, and you are going to experience failure and disappointment. But through it all, God has been and will be faithful. We have never lacked anything we have needed, and He has prepared us here in this mission field of Heritage Academy, to trust Him. surrendering our plans and expectations, and all the while learning that this is what it means to take up our cross daily to follow him. And praise his name, his strength is made perfect in our weakness. So, what have I learned? What have I gained from this experience? Yes, learning how to succeed, good academics, good habits, these are all good things I've learned. But I count every one of them lost if I haven't learned that all my humanity will ever provide is failure and disappointment. I had to come to terms with the idea that these bad things are inevitable. They're gonna happen. But what we do with them is what really counts. Because we can never count ourselves truly successful unless we take our humanity, our failures and disappointments, and place them into the hands of an infinite God.